Dear students, in the previous lecture, we have studied about the cell, definition of the cell, types of the cells, different scientists who have studied on the cells, and discovery of the cell. Now today, we will study something different from it. Today we will study the shape, size, types of the cell. As we know, cells vary in size. They are not of the definite shape. Some are small, some are large. The cells which are small, they are known as a microscopic, and those are large, which we are able to see by our naked eye, are known as a macroscopic. Even they varies in the shape also. There is no definite shape of every cell. Each and every cell are different in shape also. Even in our body also. Variation depends upon the functions of the cell. Last time we have seen that it is a functional unit of life. So different functions also are done. So there is a variation. Variation means differentiation. If we just take an example of our body, a nerve cell has a cell body with long cell processing extent from it. Its function is to receive and transmit neuron signal. That long part is known as the axon that you might have studied. If we just see related to the types of the cell, there are mainly two types of the cells: unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. That is, the organisms are dependent on the number of cells. So number of cells varies from organism to organisms. Some of the cells may exist as independent unit of life. Means all the processes of the body is done by a single cell only. Whole body is made up of one cell only. Even there is also some variations, some differentiations in a single cell organisms. Some can change the shape. Some has a fixed shape cells. Such organisms are known as a unicellular organisms. For example, amoeba, paramecium, euglena, chlamydomonas. These all are unicellular organisms. Their whole body is made up of only one cell, and that only one cell do all the processes. Another type of organism is multicellular organisms. The word only indicate multi means many, cellular means cell. Means organism is made up of many cells. Multicellular organisms have well developed division of labor. That is, the work is divided by all different type of cells. So different functions are performed by different type of cells. As previously we have studied that a group of cells make a tissue, a group of tissues make a organs, organ systems and organism. Means in a single body, in a single organism, different organs are there to perform the different functions. If we just take a example of human body, then we have stomach. It is a one organ. It do the function of the digestion. The food which we eat is digested by stomach only. Heart is there to pump the blood for the circulatory system. Brain is there to think it. So these are the different organs present in a single organisms. but they are performing different functions. If we just take an example that in a human body, how many approximately cells may be there, then here is one of the example that if a human body is weighing 60 kg, then we can just approximately calculate 60 into 10 raised to 15 cells. We can say that that person is having these many cells. According to the cell biology, an adult person has 100 trillions, that is 10 raised to 14, 10 power 14 number of cells in a body. Either it may be a male or it may be a female. We can say that this is the best example of multicellular organisms. Besides these, the higher plants, the trees, which we are observing in our surrounding, it also has many cells. Different animals, wild animals, dog, cow, lion, these all are also an example of multicellular organisms. We have seen the size of the cell, types of the cell. Now, structure of the cell. Structure, as it varies from organism to organism, same way it also varies from shape of the cell to cell. The majority of cells range from 3 to 30 microns. Microns means a very minute particle. We are not able to see by our naked eye. How it can be measured? As we have studied that each and everything can be measured. Each and every, either it may be solid, liquid, or it may be gaseous form. It has a measuring unit. Same way, the cell has also a measuring unit. In the cell biology, the measuring unit is the smallest, as it is a micron particle, which is known as a angstrom. Symbolically, it has been written in the structure that capital A, and above it a small round is that dot-like structure. That is the smallest measuring unit of cell biology. The detailed structure of the cell has studied. Yesterday we have seen the different type of microscopes. So under the compound microscope, in the natural light, it can be magnified any object up to 2000 times. Above that, if we want to see below that magnification, we have to use electron microscope. It has to been used under beams of electrons. It magnifies much better than the compound microscope in the millions of the time. So if nowadays we know that viral disease is spreading, virus we are not able to see because it is very minute one. So under the electron microscope, if we do the study of such organism, it is possible. That type of structure under the electron microscope is known as a ultrastructure. Structurally, the cell is formed of three main parts. The cell has three main parts. Outermost is known as a plasma membrane or cell membrane. Inner, it is filled with a fluid-like structure which is known as a cytoplasm, and an inherent characteristics yesterday we have seen which is present inside it, and a important part which shows that a cell is a living cell, that is the nucleus is present inside the cell. So these are the three main parts of the cell: plasma membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. Here are some more examples of organisms of different size and shapes. If you will see, cell size varies from minute, that is 0.1 nm, nm stands for nanometer, up to 1 kilometer. So just see the differentiations in the size of the cell. So we can say from unicellular to the multicellular organisms. So different type of cells are there, even according to the shape also. In the next figure, if you will see, different organism names are there. Some are plants, some are microorganisms, some are bacteria, animal cell, plant cell, etc., which varies in the shape. Now, as we have seen that a cell is structurally made up of main three parts: plasma membrane or cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. Today we will study first part, that is plasma membrane. It is also known as a cell membrane. In the figure, if you will see, it is somewhat like sandwich like structure, that upper and below parts are similar while middle part is differentiated. So what does it indicate? Now some characteristics of it. Each cell is bounded by an extremely delicate, thin, elastic, living membrane called the plasma membrane. So the outermost part of the cell is covered by plasma membrane. In the plant cell, it is present in the inner side of the cell wall. As we already know that in the previous years we have studied, plant cell possesses a cell wall while animal cell doesn't possess. So in the plant cell, the inner part of the cell wall is known as the plasma membrane, while in animal cells no cell wall is present, so direct cell membrane is present known, but the function of both are one and the same only. That's why it is known as a plasma membrane or cell membrane. Plasma membrane is made up of two layers of lipids, that is fat molecules, with protein molecules. If you will see in the figure, the yellow color ball like structures indicates the lipid layers, upper and lower part, while in between if you will see pink color and blue color, they are nothing but a protein molecules which are present inside it, either on the outer layer, that is peripheral, or integrated, that is in between the molecules. Thus it is also known as a sandwich model. It is a selectively permeable membrane which allows the flow of only some substance into the cell and out of the cell. Selectively means some of the material is only allowed to move in and out of the cell. That's why it is known as a selectively. Permeable means which allows to move in and out. Membrane means layer. It is a selectively permeable membrane. It also gives shape and rigidity to the cell. That is, it gives a particular shape to the cell, and it won't allow to collapse or to change the shape of the cell in higher organisms. Virus does not have any membrane. It is the only organism which doesn't have any membrane. Otherwise, if we just see from microorganisms, that is bacteria, unicellular organism, multicellular organism, animal cell, plant cell, all these organisms possess a plasma, either plasma membrane or cell membrane, but virus doesn't. Plasma membrane is also made up of phospholipid bilayer. It contains cholesterol for support. It also contains carbohydrates on proteins and lipids. It is also known as a fluid mosaic model. So, plasma membrane is also known as a sandwich model. It is also known as a fluid mosaic model. The question can be asked in any way. That explain plasma membrane, write a note on cell membrane, write a note on sandwich model or a fluid mosaic model. It all one and the same only. Functions of plasma membrane. What is the importance of plasma membrane? If we just see, as previously we have discussed, that it gives a shape, rigidity. So first function is it gives a definite shape to the cell. It provides protection to the internal content of the cell. We know that inside the cell organelles are present. Inherent characteristics that we have studied, that is the nucleus is also present. So it provides protection to all these material. It regulates entry and exit of substance in and out of the cell, as it is a semi-permeable membrane or a selectively permeable membrane. So some of the substances are only allowed to come out and to move in. In animal cells, it is involved in adhesion, recognition, and in the formation of vesicles, cilia, flagella, microvilli, etc. These are the some of the outlets or some of the parts, cellular parts in the animal cell. Even one cell membrane is attached with the another cell membrane by the adhesion, attachment, right? Even for the formation. So in animal cell, as we know that no cell wall is there, direct cell membrane. So one cell is attached with the another cell through the plasma membrane only. It also protects the cell from injury, that is from the damage. It allows only selected substance to move across it, that is the selected permeable membrane. It forms organelles of the cell. It means some of the cells has a particular part to form from it only. So to help the cell organelles to produce vesicles, cilia, flagella on the outer part of the body or in the inner part of the body, plasma membranes help them to form it. So these are the some of the functions of plasma membrane. As we have seen that through the plasma membrane or cell membrane, a selected material or substance is only allowed to move in and out. How the movement of substance moves across it? Which are those methods? There are some of the methods such as diffusion, osmosis, plasmolysis, imbibition. These are the some of the processes. Today we will study one of the process which is known as a diffusion. What do you mean by diffusion? The movement of the substance such as carbon dioxide and oxygen across the cell membrane takes place by the process of diffusion. Diffusion takes place in solid, liquid and gases. Gases can mix up perfectly with each other and become uniform, while in liquid, diffusion is slower than in gases. In solid, diffusion occurs very slowly at a normal temperature. As we have studied states of matter, solid, liquid and gases. Molecules of gases, liquid or solid are diffused simultaneously in different directions and at different rates without interfering with each other. In the figure only, if you will see, you will able to see some of the red and blue particles which are moving from one part to the another freely. Gases has that much free as the number of molecules are less in it, and they can move easily from one form to the another. Let us see one activity to prove the principle of diffusion, how it can be diffused. Here one activity is given, that take a glass beaker with water. We know that water is colorless. Add some crystal of potassium permanganate, KMnO4, or a few drops of any color fluid. You can also take a ink also. We know that ink is a fluid. Now add a little drops of these fluid inside the water which we have taken in the beaker, or a crystals of KMnO4. Keep it for some seconds. Within a few minutes only, you will able to see that the whole water of the beaker will be uniformly colored. This shows the diffusion. It is due to the process called diffusion, which makes the water and color. Now several deep color lines originate from the crystals will be seen inside the water before diffusion is completed. You might have seen in your house, when you place any drop in the beaker, any drop of the ink or fluid, and all of a sudden just keep a end part of the cloth. On that, some of the droplets or some crystal like structure you will able to see on the cloth. That and later on whole cloth will be converted into the color. This is due to the diffusion, that water has mixed and some of the crystals or some of the particles are left behind. In this way we can prove the process which is known as a diffusion. Other processes we will see later in the next lecture. Till then, it's up to diffusion. Now, before ending, here are some questions for the practice. The answers is already there. Just try to solve it and get the answers from the above only. If you are not able to answer or get the answer, get free, be free, and you can contact me anytime. You can ask me. Till then, good day.